The forest loomed, dark and silent, an eerie presence. 3 travellers, lost and weary, they stumbled through the thick undergrowth.
Night is falling quickly,
Whispered John, his voice tight with unease and fear. The forest seemed to press in around them, the trees like gnarled fingers reaching out menacingly.
We need shelter, somewhere safe and secure.
The wind moaned through the trees, a mournful, haunting sound echoed. Then, through the gathering darkness, they saw it appear, a silhouette against the dying light, a church standing alone. The church stood in a small clearing, its stone walls crumbling with age. Vines and moss had claimed the structure, giving it an almost otherworldly appearance. The wooden door hung open, creaking slightly in the breeze. It seemed to beckon them inside, inviting yet foreboding.
"Hello, is anyone here?"
John called out, his voice echoing in the stillness. The sound seemed to be swallowed by the ancient walls. There was no reply, just the whisper of the wind and the rustling of leaves. The forest seemed to hold its breath. They stepped inside, their footsteps echoing on the cold stone floor. Each step seemed louder than the last, amplifying the eerie silence. The air was heavy with the scent of decay and something else, something ancient and unsettling. It felt as if the past lingered in every corner. Cobwebs draped the pews like ghostly shrouds. Dust motes danced in the faint light filtering through broken windows. The altar, cracked and worn, stood at the far end of the nave. It was a silent witness to countless forgotten prayers. But it was the silence that was most unnerving, a silence so profound it seemed to hum, pressing in on them from all sides as if the church itself was holding its breath. As they stood there, listening to the silence, a sound drifted from the depths of the church, a low, murmuring chant that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The hairs on the back of Sarah's neck prickled, a shiver running down her spine.
Did you hear that? It sounded like voices.
She whispered, her voice barely audible, almost swallowed by the darkness around them. The chanting grew louder, resolving into distinct voices, each one adding to the eerie harmony. A haunting melody, sung in a language they didn't recognize, filled the air. It was beautiful yet profoundly disturbing, like a siren's call in the night. John moved towards the source of the sound, his footsteps echoing in the vast emptiness of the church, each step amplifying the tension. But as he approached the altar, the chanting abruptly ceased, leaving an unsettling silence in its wake. The silence returned, heavier, more oppressive than before, as if the very air was thick with foreboding. John ran his hand along the rough surface of the altar, feeling the ancient carvings beneath his fingertips. It was cold, unnaturally cold. Then they felt it. A vibration, faint at first, like a distant heartbeat. Subtle at first, then growing stronger, as if the earth itself was awakening. It seemed to emanate from the floor beneath their feet, a pulse of energy rising from the depths. The chanting began again, louder this time, rising from the very bowels of the earth, echoing through the trees. The floor beneath them trembled, the vibrations intensifying. Panic surged through them as the ground seemed to come alive. They had stumbled upon something ancient, something unholy, a force that had been dormant for centuries, something that should have remained buried, hidden away from the world above.